A lot of mixed reviews I'm seeing for the B524. As you may or may not know, Heaven Hill's popular Elijah Craig barrel proof bourbon brand went through a pretty big change last year. Starting with the second batch, Heaven Hill announced the removal of their 12-year age statement and replaced it with a fluctuating age for each batch. Since then, we've had an older 13-year, 7-month age statement in the C923, which was just a banger of a bourbon, and a 10-year, 9-month age statement in the younger A124. Now, whether you like it or not, this is the new direction of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and it brings us to the newest batch of B524. Come right back, find out the details. We'll compare it to A124, see which one I like better. It's the Mash and Drum. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C. from the Mash and Drum, and welcome back to the show. Like, subscribe, and help me keep climbing to that 100,000 subscriber milestone here in 2024. Appreciate the help, everybody, and the support. Now, before we dive into the details, you have one more, well, about just under a week until Father's Day is here. And I wanted to give you guys one more chance for the perfect gift for dad. It's today's video sponsor. It is Original Grain. All right, everybody, seriously, I have the perfect gift for Father's Day, and of course, it's from Original Grain. Original Grain makes watches, sunglasses, rings, and more inlaid with whiskey barrel wood that inspires connection, creates conversations, commemorates milestones, and of course, can celebrate dad. Now, since 2013, Original Grain has created watches with whiskey barrels, beer barrels, Taylor guitars, railroad ties, and military surplus crates. It's the ability of Original Grain to take those shared interests and put it into a watch that you could cherish and wear for years to come. Now, as I've mentioned before, they have made some watches that include exclusive partnerships with Stone Brewing Company, Indian Motorcycles, Toyota Racing, and the one I want to talk about today, Jack Daniel's. So pretty recently, Original Grain has announced their new official partnership with Jack Daniel's, one of the biggest and best distilleries on the planet. Jack Daniel's, deservedly so, has garnered worldwide fans and has made some of my favorite whiskeys in the last several years. Now, the collection features 5 unique timepieces that incorporate the very materials that make Jack Daniel's. This includes limestone from their on-site cave spring at the distillery, charcoal, which they use to filter and mellow the whiskey before it ages, and of course, whiskey barrels. The collection was built from the ground up to be a true Jack Daniel's watch and a tribute to the iconic brand's rich history and commitment to quality. My personal favorite is the old number 7 watch, which I think just looks so cool. These watches just don't tell time, they tell the story of Jack Daniel's, they tell the story of Lynchburg, Tennessee, and they can tell the story of every person who chooses to wear it. Original Grain, by the way, are a veteran and family-owned company. They offer free shipping, a great warranty, and amazing customer service. Plus, they also dedicate themselves to helping many veteran organizations. So I already ordered my Jack Daniel's watch, so now it's time to get yours for you or for your dad for Father's Day. Original Grain has a Father's Day sale going on right now, and using my code MASH, it'll allow you to stack an extra 10% off so you can shop for dad and get the highest discount you will find. Remember, if dad isn't into Jack Daniel's, there are so many beautiful watches made with unique materials to choose from if he has other interests. So click the link below in the description, head to Original Grain and use code MASH at checkout and grab one of these beautiful watches today. Cheers. All right, guys, so the details of batch B524 is older than the first batch of the year at 11 years, 2 months, but really the big bump here is the proof coming in at 65.3% ABV or 130.6 proof, which is pretty high when you look at other recent batches. All right, let's give this a pour. I did ask Connor O'Driscoll, master distiller over at Heaven Hill, and I'll leave the link here. It was a great interview I had with him. But I did ask him what the rationale is for each and every batch of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Are they planned? Do they think that this month they'll hit a certain proof? Or this month they'll hit a certain age? And he said that he and his team aren't really driven by any master plan by any means. They let the barrels they have to work with drive the flavor profile first and foremost, and whatever the proof or age ends up being is what goes in the bottle. So again, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B524, age stated at 11 years, 2 months, 130.6 proof. SRP these days you'll find it for about 75 bucks. So this is about my third pour of this batch. I always like to get it past a little bit of the shoulder or get it to the shoulder before I review an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof because you know, those proofs are so high. Usually helps draw out some more flavors here, but we'll see how I feel about this one. Here we go. Pretty classic Heaven Hill nose. Just get a lot of like that peanut brittle characteristic. I get a lot of sweet vanilla. This has sweetened up, I will say, a good amount from the first time that I opened this bottle, when I was getting a lot of ethanol, a little bit stronger of a nutty characteristic to it. But here, I think the sweetness has, you know, come to the forefront a little bit more. Lots of vanilla, deep brown sugars, pretty classic overall. I think there is a little bit of a buttery note here too, which I kind of dig. You guys know I love the butterscotch, so that buttery characteristic that it has. Definitely some oak here, a little bit funky, kind of a funky oak note, but overall, pretty solid, so let's give it a try. This is very spicy off first sip. You run into some batches of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof where some are definitely a lot sweeter, more savory. Some spicier though. There's some more, a little bit more rye forward. Right now, first sip, this is kind of getting to that spicy, more rye forward characteristic for me. A little bit of a drier oak profile on the back end of it too. There's a ton of cinnamon as usual, and again, more of that brown sugar. There's definitely a charred oak note here that I'm picking up on the back end. I think that's lending itself to a little bit of dryness on the back of the palate. I'm getting like cayenne pepper vibes on here, or like a chili powder type of thing going on this one. I mean, the vanilla is here. I'm trying to figure out if that's a lot of just spice or is it the proof, but there is a very big punch of ethanol on the back end of here for me. Not something I'm really digging too much. Let me take one more sip here. Yeah, I'm still getting like a musty oak note to it on the back end of this. I don't know. This isn't, I think it's lacking in sweetness for me. It's definitely more oak driven, more spice driven. It's got a long finish, but the biggest knock I could probably put on the B524 is it's just drinking thin. It's just drinking thinner and hotter than I normally like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. You kind of want that drawn out sweetness. You want some oak to kind of balance it all out. You want a long finish, but you also want some viscosity to it. And this one isn't really bringing that. Let me compare it to A124, which I wasn't too much of a fan of either. All right, so A124 has a substantially lower proof here, 119. Only 119 proof, 10 year, 9 months on the age statement, so which we talked about a little bit. So, you know, the B524, definitely a little older. Let's get into the A124 here. I'll say on the nose, I do like the B524 a tad bit more. I think there is some more sweetness there versus the A124. Let me try the A124 here. I think the A124 has opened up a little bit since the last time I had it. It's definitely a little bit sweeter. I don't think it's a fantastic batch by any means. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad. I think it's just kind of just an even keel batch. I mean, obviously I've had better batches than A124, but I wouldn't say it's terrible by any means. But let's go to B524 here. So I think really the main points here between A124 and B524 is B524, I think, is a little bit darker, definitely a little bit richer, I think, when it comes to flavor across the spectrum. However, there's definitely a lot more spice here. I'm still picking up a little bit of that alcohol note in the back end. In terms of batches overall, I think B524 is a solid batch. I don't think it's anything spectacular, but I don't think it's anything bad either. Do I like it more than A124? I think I do. However, this batch still might not be for everybody. Like I said, I still think it lacks a little bit of the sweetness that you get overall. I'm not going to do a full final breakdown because, you know, I do these 3 times a year and mostly the stats are the same. Still a great value. You know, I probably wouldn't pay over MSRP to get this particular batch. But when it comes to, you know, putting this in a tier or kind of, you know, where it falls in like the level of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof batches as far as the new bottle style goes, I don't know, it falls somewhere in the middle, maybe even a little bit lower. I do think there's been a lot better batches than this one. Even though it's okay, I like it better than A124. I would say this ventures more on spicy, a little bit of sweet, a little bit more of an oak profile versus, you know, like a C923 that was just so intensely rich and delicious. But really the one, like I said, the biggest knock I have on this is that it drinks a little thin for something 130.6 proof. Is it good? It's good. I don't think it's great. All right, well, hope you enjoyed the review for the new Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B524. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that subscribe button below. Please hit that like button. And if you have me yet, find me on Instagram. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this one. Also, let me know down in the comments if you're still hunting these out, even though we have a variable age statement now. Always love hearing from you guys. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. Cheers, and I'll see you next time right here on the Master Drum. Cheers, folks.